These 7 colors that make you look poor. Never wear them. Have you ever wondered why some people walk into a room and instantly command respect, while others fade into the background? According to Evy Poumpouras, the answer often lies in something simple but powerful: the colors we wear. Color psychology plays a major role in how others perceive our confidence, worth, and success. Certain shades can unconsciously make you look less refined or even cheap, no matter how expensive your clothes are. When you wear faded, dull, or overly bright colors, you risk sending the wrong message. People notice these cues instantly. They don't just see your outfit, they feel your energy through it. Evie emphasizes that some colors can actually drain your presence. Pale yellows, washed-out grays, and dusty browns can make your complexion look tired and your overall image look uninspired. Even neon or flashy shades can backfire. Instead of standing out elegantly, they often come across as trying too hard. The goal isn't to hide behind color, but to use it wisely. You want colors that lift your energy and complement your skin tone, not ones that dull your shine. High-value individuals understand the importance of timeless shades. They avoid following every trend because they know true elegance is built on consistency and class. That's why neutrals like navy, white, camel, charcoal, and black are wardrobe staples. They project intelligence, sophistication, and calm authority. Evy Poumpouras points out that these colors speak the language of confidence. They tell the world you are composed, intentional, and self-respecting. You don't need to scream to be seen, you need to dress with purpose. Another key idea Evie shares is that wealth isn't about being flashy, it's about balance. People who look rich aren't necessarily wearing luxury brands, they're wearing coordinated, clean, and harmonious colors. A well-balanced outfit in deep, classic tones looks far more expensive than a loud mix of bright colors. Subtlety is power. When your look feels put together, people subconsciously see you as someone who has their life together too. Your color choices shape your first impression before you even speak. Whether you're attending an interview, meeting someone new, or simply going out, the colors you wear communicate your mindset. Wearing intentional, polished shades signals emotional intelligence. It shows that you understand how perception works. When you choose your colors wisely, you project respect, self-awareness, and quiet confidence. So the next time you get dressed, don't just ask if something looks nice. Ask what it says about you. Avoid the 7 colors that make you look poor, the washed out, the overly bright, the dull, the ones that clash with your essence. And instead choose shades that elevate your image. Because the truth is, presentation is power. And when your colors align with your confidence, you don't just look expensive, you feel unstoppable. These 7 colors that make you look poor! Never wear them. Evy Poumpouras. Have you ever stopped to think about how the colors you wear silently communicate your worth, energy, and confidence? According to Evy Poumpouras, former Secret Service agent and expert on human behavior, colors are more powerful than most people realize. They tell people who you are before you even speak. Every shade you wear sends a message about your personality, status, and mindset. And unfortunately, some colors, even if trendy or common, can make you appear less polished, less confident, and ultimately, less successful. These are the colors that can unintentionally make you look poor. Not in terms of money, but in presence, class, and energy. Color psychology plays a massive role in how others perceive you. People subconsciously associate certain colors with strength, sophistication, and confidence, while others trigger the opposite: dullness, insecurity, or lack of effort. Evy Poumpouras emphasizes that your wardrobe speaks volumes before you open your mouth. Faded colors like pale yellows, light grays, and dusty browns tend to wash you out and make your outfit look old or cheap, even if it's designer. These tones often drain your skin tone and take away your natural vibrancy. When you wear colors that don't align with your complexion or personality, you lose the power of visual impact, the kind of energy that makes others pay attention when you walk into a room. It's not about being flashy or following trends, it's about choosing colors that enhance you. Evy explains that truly high-value individuals understand this subtle power. They select shades that reflect balance, strength, and control. Think of deep navy, crisp white, rich camel, sleek charcoal, and timeless black. These are colors that communicate confidence without trying too hard. They work for every setting, whether professional or casual, and always give off an air of authority and sophistication. In contrast, wearing overly bright or neon colors, like lime green, hot pink, or bright orange, can come across as loud and unrefined. Such tones draw attention, but not in a good way. They distract rather than impress. One of Evy Poumpouras' strongest messages is that presentation equals power. People form opinions about you in seconds based on visual cues, and color is one of the most immediate. Even if your outfit is stylish, the wrong shade can completely change the impression it leaves. The key is to aim for harmony, colors that complement your skin tone and personality while projecting calm, self-control, and quiet confidence. When your colors are balanced, you appear organized, intentional, and put together. When they're chaotic, you seem uncertain or careless. High-value women and men often stick to neutral or muted tones not because they're boring, but because they exude class. A navy suit, a white blouse, or a camel coat will always look elegant because these colors are associated with intelligence, trust, and refinement. These shades are timeless. They never go out of style, unlike seasonal fashion colors that quickly look outdated. Evy reminds us that the goal isn't to impress others, but to express self-respect. When you care about how you present yourself, people instinctively take you more seriously. Your color choices are a reflection of your self-awareness. When you choose wisely, you're telling the world you understand how perception works. You're not trying to prove your worth. You're embodying it. Wearing clean, rich, and coordinated colors signals discipline and emotional intelligence. On the other hand, dull, faded, or clashing colors suggest lack of direction and poor taste. The truth is, people don't just see your outfit, they read your energy through it. The right colors amplify your confidence, while the wrong ones can mute your presence completely. So, the next time you get dressed, look at your wardrobe through a different lens. Ask yourself, do these colors elevate me, or do they drain me? Avoid the 7 colors that make you look poor, and instead invest in hues that make you feel powerful, sharp, and alive. Because style isn't about showing off, it's about showing up, with confidence, intelligence, and intention. When your colors align with your purpose, you don't just look successful, you become it. Why women over 40 go crazies and break families apart. Evy Poumpouras. As women reach their 40s, something profound begins to shift within them, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. According to Evy Poumpouras, this stage of life is not about going crazy, as society often labels it, but rather about awakening to truth and unmet needs. Many women in their 40s start re-evaluating the lives they've built, their marriages, careers, friendships, and even their identities. For years, they may have prioritized others over themselves, constantly giving, nurturing, and supporting without ever pausing to ask, what do I truly need? This awakening can look chaotic from the outside, but inside, it's a call for alignment, a desperate need to reconnect with one's authentic self. Evy Poumpouras explains that women often spend their 20s and 30s fulfilling expectations. They build families, raise children, and support their partner's dreams while quietly suppressing their own. By the time they hit 40, they've gathered wisdom, experience, and emotional depth, but also exhaustion and resentment. It's not madness, it's emotional overload. When a woman realizes she's been living for everyone but herself, the internal conflict can feel explosive. That's why many women at this stage begin to pull away, demand change, or even walk away from relationships that no longer serve them. They are no longer afraid of losing others. They're afraid of losing themselves. This period of transformation is often misunderstood by those around them. Husbands, children, and friends may see her sudden independence or detachment as selfishness or instability. In reality, it's a reclaiming of identity. Evy emphasizes that when a woman reaches her 40s, she becomes more conscious of time, realizing that life is finite and that she can no longer postpone her happiness. The choices she makes during this time are not acts of rebellion, they're acts of self-preservation. Many women start setting boundaries they should have set years ago. They stop saying yes to things that drain them and begin prioritizing peace, purpose, and authenticity. Evy Poumpouras also sheds light on the emotional intelligence behind this transformation. Women in their 40s often become more self-aware and intuitive, but with that awareness comes discomfort. They see truth more clearly, in their relationships, in themselves, and in the systems they once relied on. This awareness can lead to emotional turbulence. It's not that they go crazy. It's that they finally feel everything they've ignored for years. The pressure of years of emotional labor, unspoken frustration, and silent sacrifices often erupts, forcing change that can seem destructive but is actually healing in disguise. Many families are shaken during this phase because the woman who once held everything together begins to change. She no longer tolerates disrespect, neglect, or imbalance. She becomes vocal about what she wants, which can feel threatening to those who benefited from her silence. Evy highlights that this shift isn't about breaking families apart. It's about breaking unhealthy patterns that were never sustainable. A woman over 40 begins to understand that she cannot pour from an empty cup. If she doesn't prioritize her mental and emotional well-being, no one else will. True empowerment, Evy says, comes when women embrace this season with courage rather than guilt. This is not the time to apologize for wanting more. It's the time to redefine what more truly means. It's about rediscovering passion, peace, and purpose. Women who channel this energy wisely often emerge stronger, calmer, and more fulfilled than ever before. They may lose relationships that no longer align with their truth, but they gain something far greater: self-respect and clarity. So, when society calls women over 40 crazy, what it really sees is transformation, the breaking down of old versions to make room for new strength. They're not losing their minds, they're reclaiming their power. And as Evy Poumpouras reminds us, the woman who learns to choose herself after decades of silence is not destroying her world, she's rebuilding it with truth, dignity, and emotional freedom. Do ice and you'll never be angry again. Evy Poumpouras. Anger is one of the most misunderstood emotions. Explosive, raw, and often destructive. According to Evy Poumpouras, mastering anger isn't about never feeling it. It's about learning to control it before it controls you. In a world where people constantly test your patience, push your limits, and provoke reactions, true power lies not in how loud you shout, but in how calm you remain. Evy teaches that anger, when left unchecked, robs you of clarity, confidence, and credibility. But when understood, it becomes a signal, a messenger that tells you where you've been disrespected, ignored, or emotionally triggered. The secret is not to fight anger, but to retrain your response to it. Evy Poumpouras often says, "Power is staying calm when others lose control." This statement captures the essence of emotional mastery. The moment you allow someone to trigger you, you give them control over your state of mind. They win, not because they're right, but because you reacted. When you stay calm, you keep your energy, focus, and authority intact. Anger, when expressed impulsively, makes you look weak, irrational, and easily manipulated. But composure, that quiet, grounded presence, signals strength. High-value individuals understand this difference deeply. They don't let anger dictate their behavior. They channel it into power. To never be angry again, Evy explains, you must first understand your triggers. Most anger doesn't come from the present moment. It comes from accumulated pain, stress, or unresolved experiences. When someone disrespects you, your reaction often connects to a past wound. That's why awareness is the first step to emotional freedom. Before reacting, pause, breathe, ask yourself, is this worth my peace? 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. The calm pause between stimulus and response is where maturity and control are born. Evy Poumpouras also emphasizes the importance of self-discipline in emotional management. You can't master your anger without mastering your environment. That means setting boundaries, walking away from toxic people, and learning when silence is more powerful than a response. The truth is, not every battle deserves your energy. When you start choosing peace over reaction, you shift from emotional chaos to emotional intelligence. You stop needing to prove a point and start focusing on protecting your inner state. This mindset doesn't make you passive. It makes you powerful. Because no one can manipulate someone who refuses to be triggered. Another powerful insight Evy shares is that calmness is a skill, and it must be trained daily. You build it through discipline, mindfulness, and intentional living. The more you practice staying calm in small moments, traffic, disagreements, disappointments, the stronger your emotional muscle becomes. Over time, your nervous system learns that not every frustration deserves an explosion. You begin to choose logic over impulse, peace over ego, and control over chaos. Anger loses its grip when you stop feeding it attention. Evie also reminds us that anger can be transformed into productive energy. Instead of lashing out, use that emotion as fuel. Channel it into improving your fitness, work, mindset, or goals. The best revenge against frustration is progress. When you invest your energy into growth, you regain control of your narrative. People who once made you angry lose their power, because your focus is no longer on them. It's on your evolution. Ultimately, the key to never being angry again lies in perspective. Understand that people's behavior is a reflection of them, not you. The disrespect, the manipulation, the provocation, it's all noise. Evy Poumpouras teaches that emotional mastery isn't about being numb, it's about being aware. It's realizing that peace is not found by controlling others, but by mastering yourself. When you stop reacting to every insult and start responding with wisdom, you rise above the chaos. You become untouchable. So, if you want to stop being angry forever, don't suppress your emotions. Elevate your response. Train your mind to pause, your heart to stay calm, and your words to carry weight. Because real strength isn't shown through shouting or aggression. It's shown through silence, control, and grace. As Evy Poumpouras says, calm is a superpower, and once you master it, no one can take your peace again. When women focus on themselves, everything changes. Evy Poumpouras. There comes a point in every woman's life when she realizes that giving, pleasing, and sacrificing have drained her spirit. That's the moment she begins to focus on herself, and everything changes. According to Evy Poumpouras, self-focus is not selfishness, it's self-preservation. Society often teaches women to put everyone else first, their partners, children, family, and work, while neglecting their own dreams and emotional well-being. But when a woman finally chooses to prioritize herself, something extraordinary happens. Her confidence returns, her peace grows, and her energy becomes magnetic. She stops chasing validation and begins radiating value. Evy Poumpouras, a master of emotional intelligence and personal power, explains that when women focus inward, they stop seeking external approval. They begin to understand that their worth isn't dependent on who accepts or praises them, but on how deeply they respect themselves. This shift in focus creates transformation from the inside out. A woman who takes time to nurture her mind, body, and emotions becomes centered and powerful. Her boundaries strengthen, her decisions sharpen, and her presence commands attention. People notice the difference. Not because she's louder, but because she's calmer and more grounded. When a woman is focused on herself, she no longer tolerates disrespect, inconsistency, or emotional chaos. Evy emphasizes that self-focus brings clarity. You begin to see who truly supports you and who drains you. Instead of clinging to people who offer crumbs of attention, you start demanding consistency, respect, and peace. You stop explaining your worth to people who never valued it in the first place. This doesn't make you cold or distant, it makes you wise. You learn that protecting your peace is more important than pleasing anyone. Evy Poumpouras teaches that energy is currency. Wherever you invest your time and emotions, you either grow or deplete yourself. When women constantly pour their energy into others without replenishing it, they burn out, feel resentful, and lose confidence. But when they redirect that energy towards self-growth, reading, learning, exercising, resting, healing, they glow differently. People may even say she's changed, but in reality, she's just become who she was always meant to be. Self-focus helps a woman rediscover her strength, her standards, and her serenity. Another major transformation occurs in how she communicates. A self-focused woman doesn't argue to be understood. She observes to decide who deserves her energy. She responds, not reacts. She leads with calm authority because she no longer needs to prove anything. Evy highlights that this emotional discipline is the ultimate form of power. When a woman can stay composed under pressure, she becomes unshakable. No one can manipulate her with guilt or fear anymore, because she operates from self-respect, not insecurity. Evy also explains that when women focus on themselves, their environments naturally shift. Toxic people fall away, new opportunities appear. And inner peace replaces constant anxiety. That's because focus is energy, and whatever you give energy to expands. When a woman invests her energy in self-improvement, her career, appearance, and relationships start aligning with her new vibration. She no longer chases, she attracts. She no longer begs, she decides. This transformation also impacts how she views love. A self-focused woman doesn't look for someone to complete her. She looks for someone who complements her. She no longer confuses attention with affection or effort with obligation. Her standards evolve, and she learns to love from fullness, not emptiness. Evy Poumpouras reminds women that the most attractive quality is peace. When you're calm, secure, and focused, you exude quiet power, and people feel it. Ultimately, when women focus on themselves, they stop existing for others and start living for themselves. They stop waiting for permission to be happy and start creating happiness on their own terms. The world may call it selfish, but Evy Poumpouras calls it strength. The kind of strength that transforms not just a woman's life, but her entire energy. Because when a woman learns to put herself first, she doesn't lose anyone important. She simply loses everything that was holding her back. Never share these 3 secrets, Evy Poumpouras. In a world obsessed with oversharing, Evy Poumpouras reminds us that true power lies in privacy. Not everything about your life deserves an audience. The people who move in silence often hold the greatest control. Because what others don't know, they can't use against you. Sharing too much, even with good intentions, can weaken your emotional, professional, and personal boundaries. According to Evy, there are 3 things you should never reveal: your plans, your personal struggles, and your private life. Keeping these guarded doesn't make you secretive. It makes you strategic. Silence isn't emptiness, it's armor. The first secret to protect is your future plans. Evy Poumpouras explains that discussing your goals before they're achieved invites unnecessary opinions, energy, and even sabotage. When you talk too much about what you're going to do, you release the energy meant for action. Some people won't support you, not because your dream is impossible, but because your ambition reminds them of their own inaction. Others might subtly discourage you or even copy your ideas. When you move quietly, you protect your focus and momentum. Your success should make the noise, not your intentions. The most powerful people don't announce their moves. They execute them. The second secret you should never share is your personal struggles. Evy teaches that vulnerability is valuable only when shared with those who have earned your trust. Many people don't listen to help, they listen to gossip. When you reveal your weaknesses to the wrong audience, you give them ammunition to use against you later. Not everyone who smiles at you wishes you well. Protect your emotional space by healing privately and confiding only in those who are proven, loyal, and discreet. True strength isn't about broadcasting your pain. It's about mastering it quietly. The moment you learn to comfort yourself without needing external validation, you evolve into emotional independence. The third and most important secret is your private life, your relationships, finances, and personal routines. Evy Poumpouras emphasizes that privacy builds respect. The less people know about your inner world, the less they can judge, manipulate, or interfere. Oversharing your love life or family dynamics often invites drama, jealousy, or misunderstanding. The healthiest relationships thrive in privacy because peace cannot survive public scrutiny. The more you guard your private world, the more power and dignity you preserve. Mystery is not manipulation, it's self-respect. Evy Poumpouras believes that control over your words equals control over your image. People who talk less often appear wiser, calmer, and more in control. Silence makes others curious, and curiosity gives you an advantage. When you speak only when necessary, your words carry weight. By contrast, when you constantly reveal your thoughts, people stop valuing your voice. Power, after all, isn't loud. It's quiet, measured, and intentional. In a culture that rewards constant exposure, posting everything online, sharing personal details with strangers, and seeking validation through attention, choosing privacy becomes an act of rebellion and strength. Evy teaches that not everyone deserves access to you. Your peace, plans, and progress are sacred. Protecting them means protecting your future. People who move quietly often succeed faster because they operate without distraction or outside pressure. When no one knows your next step, no one can stop it. This mindset also builds emotional confidence. When you no longer feel the need to explain yourself, justify your choices, or share your every move, you begin to feel liberated. You stop seeking permission and start trusting your intuition. You don't owe anyone updates about your life. Not your goals, not your struggles, not your happiness. The less you share, the more peace you preserve. Evy Poumpouras' philosophy is simple: speak with intention, act with discretion, and let your results speak for themselves. There is profound elegance in being unpredictable and understated. The world doesn't need to know your every plan or emotion. It only needs to witness your growth. Remember, privacy isn't secrecy, it's power. When you keep your plans, pain, and personal life private, you protect not only your image but your peace of mind. So, the next time you're tempted to share your business, pause. Ask yourself, will this strengthen me or expose me? Because as Evy Poumpouras says, powerful people don't announce moves, they make them. Stay silent, stay focused, and let your success do the talking.